You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Oh, hey, what you say?
Show.
Can you hear me? What's up? Look, this is a gizzard. It's a wizzy wizard with a sissy scissor. Yeah, payback's
Some
big.
say that karma is a bitch.
That's right, my
The Big
friend.
Show.
Woo! It is the big
Okay,
show.
so last week I had to travel.
This is
to
my
San
friend that
Jose.
stayed in a haunted
Yes,
hotel
yes, I
all
thought
night
about
long.
3 hotels. They didn't.
Or maybe she's lying, because you know people be doing that.
Imagine going on or something, but I did find
Well.
a hotel that had a room for me.
If she's lying, she won't be a good guest on this show, because this show is called Truth on Tap. This is your host, Kevin Kirsten. We are going to be taking a caller or two tonight, so bear with me, because I'm trying a new technology here that involves having people call in, and there has to be a little echo on your computer because your voice is looping back, and it's something I'm trying to learn to deal with. Basically, about a 1-second delay of my own voice coming back into my head. Now, if it gets as annoying as I think it might, to hell with that. I'll be hanging up and muting the speakers and figure out another way to get the technology to work right. But for now, we're going to give this a try. Michaela should be calling in. Tonight's topic is going to be aliens. We've always got something going on about aliens. So we're going to go ahead and try to make some connections tonight between aliens and the afterlife. There are some theories out there about aliens and demons now. We're going to go ahead and talk about the differences between those who are traditional conspiracy theorists that tend to believe in all conspiracy theories, and those of us who are reasonable but see some of that paranormal stuff as believable. There's a difference, and that difference couldn't be better illustrated than in this month's issue of Scientific American Mind. Get a chance, read that. Talks about how conspiracy theorists are kind of tearing apart our society. Once you get to believing in all the conspiracies, well, then you don't have to do anything. Global warming, it's a scam. Keep polluting. It's an easy way to explain away anything that's difficult or inconvenient. And that's not healthy for anyone. So, I would recommend you read that if you're a fan of science. And, the skeptics call us fools, don't they? Oh, you believe in aliens? Where's a body? Show me a body. You're an idiot. You just have no balls, because you won't go out on the edges of science and poke around. You stay in your little lab coat, and I've been there. I know what it's all about. You stay in your little lab coat. You got your little scientific rules written down, and your hypotheses, and your theories, and you try them, and if they fail, you don't look at it again. I'm different. I believe that defines science, yet there's so much undefined science out there that's not going to get defined if people that poke around the edges aren't working. So you're just kind of sitting in what we know, bathing yourself in it, and becoming more refined in that current proven science. You're not discovering anything new, unless it's mixing two theories together that have already been established to make a combo theory. Let's get some new stuff in there. We need mainstream science to come poke around with us, around the paranormal. Figure out how much of it is fantasy, and some of it may be legitimate enough to actually put some people on. There used to be a bunch of universities in the 70s and such that had paranormal parapsychology departments. So that's worth mentioning. They started shutting down. And the reason for that, of course, what I believe is that the United States government went on an information campaign starting in 1947, and their goal behind the scenes, a program that had a lot of money poured into it, was make anybody who reports aliens or UFOs look like nutcases. Make them disengaged from their community because the community expels them. Make them unlikely to keep their job because their job doesn't want the bad publicity because of their employees' beliefs. And make them seem unstable at best and absolutely lost in lunacy at worst. And I think it worked. It took maybe 10 years, but I think they got what they wanted. They got people. The press won't even talk about UFOs anymore. They laugh. Rachel Maddow, who I actually respected up until this point, was sitting there with this smirk on her face talking about the Disclosure Project, how they were having mock Senate hearings in D.C. Well, it's the best thing they can get right now, but it's a step. You've got 400 and something astronauts, pilots sitting there, ex-military people, all reputable witnesses saying, hey, we saw something. And they're given detailed accounts. You've got FAA officials with radar reports. We saw something, as did the machines, as did this highly calibrated equipment that I personally have experience with. It works. It doesn't give you anomalies often, and when it does, they don't look like 8 and 10 and 12 units flying at 14,500 miles an hour across an American sky when the fastest thing you've got can't even top 2,000 miles an hour. So, something to think about. If I don't get this call here in a second, I am going to turn off. Michaela, if you're listening, call in. I got to get this done. I got to see if this works because I don't want to listen to my own voice echoing back into my head anymore. I'm going to go nuts. Although the skeptics would say I'm already nuts. Let's see. I'm looking here. See if we got any calls. Oh, there it is. Okay. We'll do. Oh, she's okay. Yeah, I don't know how to use this stuff yet, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. It's going to be a good show, but it's also a test show. So just kind of walk along with me here. We'll be fine. Have you heard of Dr. Michael Shermer? I gave him a good once-over a couple weeks ago on a Tuesday. I don't know if he wears a toupee, but if he didn't, he does now, because I scalped him verbally. I tore him apart up one side and down the other because people like him don't need good evidence that people outside of the empirical paradigm are wrong. All they need is that you don't have proof. That's all they need, and they attack. And how can you beat them? If you don't have proof, if all you've got's anecdotal, they're feeling pretty confident in themselves because they never have to be wrong until you come up with the proof. So it's a pretty safe bet for them. Yeah, they're walking a safe line. They're wearing their seatbelt. They've got the chains hooked up to their mountain climbing equipment, extra parachutes on. Yeah, they have no risk. The brave people will take risk and go poke around the fringes of science to expand the field. We haven't even made a dent in science. It's like removing something the size of a pearl from Antarctica when Antarctica is the body of science. That's how much we've figured out. We've got about a pearl figured out. We got a long way to go. And if we're not asking hard questions, we're not going to move very quickly. Just something to think about. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday night. You must be really bored if you're listening to my show, but I'll try to keep it. I'll try to keep it exciting, especially if we can get some chat. Come in here and chat in the chat room. Tell me what you think about aliens. You can remain confidential, or you can call in. The number now, which is new, this is a new technology we're trying out, going through Google Talk on the air with a loop back, is 910 no lying. Yeah, it really is. 910-665-9464. It's 910 no lying. I thought it was pretty cool. Got a little Google Voice number there that tends to agree with the theme of the show. Not bad at all. Let's see. Now, I know Michaela's downloading Skype. She's going to try a Skype call in, so that means I need to actually open that as well. My computer's probably going to lock up tighter than a freaking drum here, but we'll go ahead and try it. My computer's about 5 years old, and for me being a computer technician, that's almost unacceptable. But it's not every day you can just grab a new computer system, and let's face it, we procrastinate. And that's exactly what I've done here. Alright, so Skype is up now, but she doesn't know my Skype name. So how would she know? Huh. Okay, well, I'm going to tell her. That would be Mr., and that's for the rest of you too. On Skype, I am Mr.Kevin.Kierstead. That's Kierstead. There we go. Is my Skype name. I can hear the music down there in town. My friend Todd is a drummer in a band called Bad Ace, and I can hear him cranking it down there. They've been playing since 8 o'clock, so I'm guessing they're probably just about done. I don't know how long they're going to play tonight. It's funny because that same band that's playing live in town right now is the band I'm going to play later, that I play at the end of all my broadcasts. Tonight, we're going to throw on Don't Leave Me Alone by Bad Ace. Wouldn't it be weird if right when I play that, they're actually playing it in town and I can hear it? That would kind of be like Twilight Zone music going in my head. I don't look for weird coincidences. I tend to dismiss a lot of things that seem paranormal, only because I know I can't do anything about them. So what if two songs play at once? That is really strange. Statistically, the chances of that are 1 in a trillion, yet I'm okay with it. Because I know, what am I going to do? Go tell everybody? And they're going to go, wow! That's not science you can look into. Science you can look into are the 3 times I've seen ghosts down in Old House Woods in Matthews, Virginia. What I wish we saw a lot more of were UFOs, aliens. I wish we were in that kind of environment. Because I have done enough research to believe that definitively, with no doubt, intelligent alien life forms do exist outside of this planet's atmosphere. And possibly, but I don't subscribe to this yet, exist inside this planet's atmosphere. I believe at a minimum, their scouting equipment has visited this planet. I believe they, in person, so to speak, may have visited this planet, but I'm not signing on to that one yet. It just makes sense to me that no matter how advanced you are in a civilization, that you wouldn't necessarily include your species if you didn't have to do basic research out there in interplanetary travel for all the hazards there are out there. So, if they figured out wormholes and jump travel and anti-gravity and force fields and they're feeling absolutely confident, yeah, maybe they come. I don't know. They say they have some at S4 right now, part of Area 51 in Nevada. You've probably heard about it. This is a place where I watch all of these videos that have ex-employees or supposed ex-employees, and I use what I know about body language and being able to tell if someone's lying and my background in psychology to try to see if they have credibility, if I could possibly believe them. And then if if they're good enough to pass that first stage, I'll go ahead and look a little deeper into it. There are a couple that have passed with flying colors. So either they were good students of body language and knew their business and knew countermeasures on how to not look like they were lying, or they were telling the truth. Another possibility is that they were entirely nuts and believed what they were saying. Okay, so I've got a call coming in on my regular phone, but it's not coming in here, so that's not going to work. Oh well. Well, Michaela, if you can hear this, it's not going to work. It's going to have to be over Skype. Try Skype if you can. Mr.Kevin.Kierstead. I'll wait for you. As far as aliens go, let's talk about the interdimensional thing. We haven't really spent a lot of time on that. A lot of people get uncomfortable when you start talking about the interdimensional. And I can understand it. Yeah, I can understand it. Are you listening? It's uncomfortable if you're not big into physics. What the hell does interdimensional mean? Do you mean something might be standing beside me right now that I don't see? Well, yeah, but that's not even dimensional. Dimension is a reference area that you cannot sense. And it could be a space, it could be a time, it could be a noun slash verb that you have yet to define or have ever experienced. So how could you know it? Try to imagine right now a color that you've never seen. That's another dimension. It's pretty impossible, isn't it? But if you did have an understanding of it and you were able to manipulate it at will, it might lead to some very convenient travel technology and learning opportunities thereby. Something to think about. Let's see, Miss Michaela. Skype me, please. Yeah, interdimensional, what if they can just walk in and walk out? You know, if there is some sort of time-space wrinkle, I believe there can be time-space, well, people say space-time. I'm talking about time and space. I'm not talking about that interwoven constant at this point in my conversation. I'm talking about either or. If there is some sort of wrinkle that has to do with a strange gravity pull from a black hole that's traveled within 50 light years or something, you know, and we're not seeing it, who's to say that somebody from the year 1550 couldn't pop up in the present time as the times ripple like sheets on a clothesline and they touch each other? You know, and we're so primitive. Listen to how primitive that sounds in our description of it when you know it's so much more complex than that. And if we were just willing to accept that we don't know anything yet, we would learn so much faster. Scientists want to get A, their name in print, B, they want to close a subject and call it solved, and C, once they believe they've closed it, they no longer look any deeper into that subject. And that goes for anybody that closes their mind on a subject. My advice, don't ever close your mind on a subject. Leave it constantly open and subject to attack. Let facts destroy your belief system as necessary. That's how you're going to have a good working truth. And thank God I went ahead and disabled that speaker thing. It was driving me absolutely batshit crazy. Okay, so Michaela, if you're listening, you know, we will try Skype, and if it's not working by coming through the broadcast, I want you to listen to that, and then we will try the loop again. One way or another, I'll figure out how to take calls on this show, folks. It is a relatively new transfer. I left Blog Talk Radio because of the terrible audio quality of me, the speaker, and the music. You know, I was calling in over a phone. Well, now you can Skype to Blog Talk Radio, but it's inconsistent. And since I only have DSL, and you have to have not only fast cable, but you have to be jacked into the router, which isn't convenient for me. I'm wireless right now. I'll be honest with you, Spreaker has handled it well. And the quality is second to none. I've even got the quality set on right now I've got it on medium. I had it on low. But it's perfect. I mean, it sounds like radio broadcast quality. And sometimes it picks up a little too much detail, you know. But I'm not complaining about that. But if you listen to people that call in over their phone on Blog Talk Radio, it sounds just like that. I mean, it sounds like a friggin' telegraph transmission. Back to the aliens. Why would they be coming here and looking at us and not want to interact with us? You know, you've already heard the theory, well, we're like ants. You don't see humans try to interact with ants. Well, no. No, I guess you don't. But then again, ants aren't setting up satellite dishes sending out radio waves toward us, are they? So maybe that's not a fair comparison. We've actually come out yelling in the form of saying, please, can we communicate? So why they would ignore us? Who would we ignore? That somehow, you know, you see a three-toed sloth in the forest. He's down there. He's on the jungle floor, and he's you know, he's not moving so fast. He does more of a waltz than a break dance, but that's because that's his nature. He's drawing in the grass there in the dirt. Says, I have learned English. I have learned how to write. I'd like to know more about you, human. You're going to ignore that? Yeah, you're going to write back. And then you're going to call the press and try to get rich off of it. But you're not going to ignore it. You know? There is an inherent nature for a species that is not normally in contact with another species but can communicate with them to go ahead and do just that. I think it's got to be universe wide. The very building blocks that make life so that life wants to perpetuate would also insist that life seek out aid in perpetuating, and to seek out aid you must seek out cooperation and help. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have in your nature the need to communicate with others. You know, I have no doubt that that's the way it works for those that have survived. There may have been plenty of species, and may still be popping up, that have no interest in teamwork or communication, and they last a few 100,000 years and they're gone. You know, we've got hundreds of species on Earth disappearing every day. It's like a revolving door on this planet, in and out. Species coming in and out. You know, and I just think that the nature of life that's successful over the long term has to be one of cooperation, even if it's deceptive cooperation, where there's backstabbing and stuff. As we've seen, humans have managed to survive with a lot of that going on. But looking at the cosmic time scale, we've been here a very short time, and I wouldn't put a lot of faith into the thought that we've got it figured out. First thing we need to do is spread out. And I can't help but wonder if intelligent life is visiting us. Is that what they're saying? Is that what they're trying to help us with? You guys got to spread out. You've got every egg in one basket. It's true. All of our eggs in one basket. One rock, you know, the size of Rhode Island, kills us all. And they're flying around everywhere in space. You know, it's happened before. We need to spread out. We need to get some people on the moon. Go ahead and set up there. We need to get some people on Mars. We've got it coming. And it won't be 100 years before we're headed out of the solar system, and it won't be 500 years before we're headed out of the galaxy. You know, we're going to start populating planets. It is the nature of a species who grows. Spread out, spread out, spread out. Is there any limit to space? None that we know of. You hear scientists say sometimes, well, space is exactly 78 billion light years. Or the universe is 78 billion light years across. Like they could know that. I mean, that's the farthest we've seen, maybe, but that means nothing. You know, it says nothing about limits. It's just bragging about accomplishments, really. And you'll see that a lot in science. It's important that you recognize that. When you see a scientist bragging about his accomplishments or his field's accomplishments, recognize that for what it is rather than thinking it is the end-all, be-all for a topic. You know, I wrote a long blog post about how I think science treats the area of space a lot like science would treat if they were sitting in the back of a semi-truck that was going down a highway, and there were kids inside that semi-truck, and those kids were running around in circles, but also spinning, and also throwing balls up in the air. That's what they're seeing. They're seeing everything inside the back of the semi, and they're saying that's where it all ends. That's where it all ends, this area inside the semi. And just picture in your mind what's going on outside the semi. You got other traffic flying around. You're moving at 60 miles an hour, don't even realize it. The planet you're on is moving a couple thousand miles an hour in rotation. You don't realize that. It's flying through space at a grand total of a couple million miles an hour. You don't know that. All you know is what's inside, going on inside that semi-trailer. And I think that's where we are. We've got so much we don't understand. So, you know, you may have some very accomplished scientists out there that have memorized a lot of formulas, but their egos are phenomenally large. I still haven't figured out why scientists have such huge egos when really some of the better ones get it. They're like, I don't know. And you need to say that more. I don't know. We know a couple % of what we really should know. You know, here's a theory. It looks like it's working out to be legitimate. It may become Instead of saying that's the end, we've solved it, it may become a building block of a larger truth if it stands the test of time. So, are aliens coming here? Are they already here? Are aliens demons? That's what some people think. What if aliens are demons, and it turns out that heaven is just space, and space is open, and you can have demons and angels, good fighting evil? What if that's really going on? Scary thought, isn't it? Scary thought that demons can just show up in real life form, take you up on a ship, shove a friggin' oscillating fan up your butt. I don't know what they do to people now. That's what you hear in all the abduction stories. Who are the good aliens? Who are the bad ones? Look on YouTube for the alien interview. See if you believe that. I thought it looked to me like the guy was moving a lot like a puppet. So I have a very hard time with that, because the movements looked almost exactly like a guy moving a puppet. Had a little bounce going on. You know, if you've ever seen somebody controlling a puppet, you kind of have that little bounce going on, little head swivel thing. He had that going on, so I can't buy it. I need to see more evidence than that to think an alien has been here. But I sure wouldn't rule it out, that's for sure. I think something happened in Roswell, and it was not a weather balloon. We know this. I don't think it was a Black Ops listening device to test for Soviet missile nuclear testing. You know, the Air Force has said 3 or 4 things now that it was, and of course you can't believe them. And you know what we're going to talk next time we talk about aliens, because I'm getting ready to sign off here. We may do another show if people show interest. If you want me to continue, you want to keep talking about aliens, you got to show up in the chat room to talk about it, or you have to go to the Facebook page and say you want to continue the conversation, and we'll continue it. The Facebook page is facebook.com/truthontapshow. And we may do another show. This is really cool with Spreaker, because I can just jump on at, say, 10:45 and start another show. But they limit you to 30 minutes at a pop. So I've got to abide by that. And frankly, my pop is up right now. So I am going to have to close out of this chat. Load Up, Don't Leave Me Alone. Right there, by Bad Ace, who is still playing down in town. I can't tell what they're playing right now. And I will have to catch you on the flip side. Thanks for listening to Truth on Tap. This has been your host, Kevin Kierstead. Peace!
I've seen beauty in many places. I've seen discouragement on many faces. Oh baby, don't you ever look down. What I know is that I want you around. So don't leave me alone. Don't leave me alone. There were times when I